Blog Talk Radio.
First World Order Radio. Finally, we are on the air. No doubt. All right.
There's always going to be somebody in the building on First World Order Radio.
We get on into some of that order consciousness tonight.
First World Order Radio every Wednesday, 8 p.m.
We got to talk about what is taking place on the planet.
There's always going to be somebody in the building on First World Order Radio. First, we need to let you know we're going to be doing more shows, giving out more information on Wednesdays. Wednesday at 8 o'clock, we are now going to make this the hottest day of the week.
Preceding others in time, order, importance. The most prominent parts, voices, or instruments. Earthly state of human concerns in existence. An indefinite multitude, quantity, or distance. System regulates to bring about specifics in the root based on value and natural characteristics. Current radiates electromagnetistics of sound through the air, same as your thoughts transmits it. Preceding others in time, order, importance. The most prominent parts, voices, or instruments. Earthly state of human concerns in existence. An indefinite multitude, quantity, or distance. System regulates to bring about specifics in the root based on value and natural characteristics. Current radiates electromagnetistics of sound through the air, same as your thoughts transmits it.
You need to understand how magical this, something like this every Wednesday can become. So you need to start getting your calendar right, get your schedule right. You need to know our intentions straight out.
All right, so these clues were given throughout the various languages was to piece the puzzle of this ancient mystery school back together again.
And what we plan on doing, both of us, is bringing y'all some surefire dynamite. We're going to take this level up a notch. We're going to have stuff to do here. This is not just going to be about philosophies and theories, shit that works.
You have an activated pineal gland which that produces these black chemicals called melanin.
What we did was gave a hard line in the sand between the different definitions of esoteric study and exoteric study. Playtime is over.
I don't need to be a dope boy, my poetry is dope enough. Trapping interstellar while my third eye open up. See through all the lies that y'all telling with a straight face. Return of the luminous ones. Y'all better make way to find a chapter. Find a collapse on all you politicians. They politicking how to lead a world about the pissing. The way I think is more deep and in the Grand Canyon. I guarantee this black man would be the man standing. My premonition matched the OMAC calendar. It's always accurate like a lightweight challenger. For all you wicked witches and the Wizard of Oz, you and that man behind the curtain, yeah, y'all fixing to fall. Only a matter of time before shit hit the fan. Here's an idiot's guide for you on how to get a man. I don't need a bunch of homies to ride or die with me. I can call on Hebrew to fly the skies with me. We going through the transition and that's all she wrote. Put on my uncle, gave my Jesus peace back to the folk. Came back for ancient times to bring heaven on earth. I was the last golden child that returned to the birth. We going through the transition and that's all she wrote. Put on my uncle, gave my Jesus peace back to the folk. Came back for ancient times to bring heaven on earth. I was the last golden child that returned to his birth. When I'm riding on this city streets, never really miss a beat. To the point of no return, unless I turn another cheek. Catch me on my daily box, smooth as I wanna be. Just being me, never chilling with the wannabes. God in the flesh, dated bad sister Lantis. Because my history is more than they can understand it. My melanated skin, star brush from the astro. I'm made of dark energy created from black holes. No dot step, the only one you can lean on. I got some scoopers that y'all can break y'all weed on. Our hair is Martin Luther King and slave ships. But what about the underwater cities and spaceships? My mystical mind, we had the government covering. But if the OMAD tip will fly away like a mothership, where African people heads just a few feet taller than me. Through the transition and that's all she wrote. Put on my auntie, gave my Jesus peace back to the Pope. Came back for ancient times to bring heaven on earth. I was the last golden child that returned since birth. We going through the transition and that's all she wrote. Put on my auntie, gave my Jesus peace back to the Pope. Came back for ancient times to bring heaven on earth. I was the last golden child that returned since birth. Yo, don't look at me the same, I ain't nothing like I used to be. Upgraded daily through the lies and all the foolery. My dream became lucid, I travel back in time, collecting life data for my subconscious mind. That father let me know that anything is possible by pulling down the universe through my crown chakra. Manipulate the energy is all an illusion. Knowing who you are kills all the confusion. While 85% judge off my appearance, I use alchemy to create the world potential. My lyrics turn divas right back at the queens. While dope boys are think twice appearing back on the scene. Everybody gone mad, blaming media outlet. The new black Hollywood chosen straight out of project. Bobo and gender war sucking up to the master, while the whole community going up in disaster. We going through the transition and that's all she wrote. Put on my auntie, gave my Jesus peace back to the Pope. Came back for ancient times to bring heaven on earth. I was the last golden child that returned since birth. We going through the transition and that's all she wrote. Put on my auntie, gave my Jesus peace back to the Pope. Came back for ancient times to bring heaven on earth. I was the last golden child that returned since birth. Since birth. Since birth.
All around the production.
Really say this the gift and the message. My music is a weapon when I use it on the reckless. Spaceship hovering throughout the whole region. Open up the sky and take the shortcut to Venus. Getting on my liver, it's a hard pill to swallow. Like comparing your religion to it if the earth is hollow. No need to cry there and let it soak in your tomorrows. Let my music soak up all your bittersweet and sorrows. See the sun shining, I lay back and kick it. Staying sucker free is my new way of living. One day we get together, then we all start building. But the ball that I dribble got me posting like Pippin. Champagne glasses around my organite pyramid. Glazing at the stars, show the kids where we really live. These solar flares got my DNA 12 stranded. Collect the kill trends and feed it to the man spring. The Washington Moors, some of us we been here to reunite the others and cool the world with wind chills. I put rap to the back for a good reason. 2012, 21 was a good season. Fake people get exposed just for who they are. Keep playing traffic in the highway with moving cars. My flow bring the fear of God to the modern rappers. They crawling backwards, kicking men and chest a heart attack. Ever since the kid went galactic, my center bracket reached the top and interacted with my solar status. The microphone I grab it, I guess it's just a habit. A living legend in your presence, sorta like the Mavericks. It ain't about me, nah, but it's about the future. I go to races on and dealing with the cockadoodles. I sock it to you like a grandma in your mama used to. The final stage I ride away just like it's Honolulu. I prove my old school, but since I stayed there, galactic conscious awareness, I got my grades there. See with the eye of Hebrew, no longer bending knees. My inner chief surrender me when it's time to leave. This modern day crap, I don't even follow it. I'd rather symbolize my name up in the hieroglyphs. Declare peace without Battlestar Galactica. Footstepping backwards on my way back to Africa. The Washington Moors, some of us we been here to reunite the others to cool the world with wind chills. I put rap to the back for a good reason. 2012, 21 was a good season. Fake people get exposed just for who they are. Keep playing traffic in the highway with moving cars. My flow bring the fear of God to the modern rappers. They crawling backwards, kicking men and chest a heart attack. The Washington Moors, some of us we been here to reunite the others to cool the world with wind chills. I put rap to the back for a good reason. 2012, 21 was a good season. Fake people get exposed just for who they are. Keep playing traffic in the highway with moving cars. My flow bring the fear of God to the modern rappers. They crawling backwards, kicking men and chest a heart attack.
All around the production.
back once again with your host, Dr. Alim El-Bey. First World of Radio. No doubt, we're here. We're going to be talking about tonight sexual alchemy and essentially what we refer to as the Mother Goddess principle, which is Kundalini energy, the serpentine fire. All right. We understand that when you talk about sexual alchemy, you have to talk about what brought you here. That is what is referred to as Kundalini or Prana Kundalini. Prana Kundalini is the external force, and we are the concentration of that external force personalized in the Mother Goddess principle in human form. And the only reason why we say Mother Goddess or Creatress is because the woman symbolizes that principle to its epitome as far as the life principle. Not saying that the male does not. He also has life and give life, which is i.e. the seed, which is the sperm. But we're talking about the cultivation of that life force. And the cultivation comes through what is called triple stage darkness. In the Holy Quran, it speaks about triple stage darkness. And that is the each trimester periods of the woman. The first 3 months, the second 3 months, and the third 3 months. 3 times 3, of course, is 9, which is the 9 months or 40 weeks, or going into the 10th month period. All right. When you get to Kundalini, a lot of people speaks about it being a serpentine fire. Of course, we had a song in which that was out back in the 1970s, 1977, as a matter of fact, by Earth, Wind, and Fire. It was called Serpentine Fire, one of the most popular songs off the All in All album. But when you come to explaining what we're talking about, a force in which that reaches at the base chakra level 6,000 degrees in temperature. As it raises up, it can reach temperatures of 2 million degrees, just like the chronosphere on the sun. The surface of the sun is 6,000. As the energy is projected, or what is called solar plasma is projected outward into the chronosphere, it reaches the temperature of 2 million degrees. The same thing within you. All right, you are a walking, living star, which is a sun. A sun is a star. Quantum physicists have already stated that more than 90% of your human anatomy is composed of stardust material or particles. All right, we know that over 300,000 tons of stardust particles fall to the planet Earth daily. So your melanin is to act as absorb that energy in order to extend your life force as a living star. And melanin will be clarified as that of dark matter, black energy, which is essentially most of the universe. When quantum physicists look out in space, it's more than 90% dark matter, black energy. All right, that correlates also to the triple stage darkness: melanin, black energy, dark matter. All right, those three correlate to the same in a sense as that triple stage darkness that we was talking about, in which that, like we stated, is in the Holy Quran. All right. As a matter of fact, we can actually talk about that. As a matter of fact, let me see if I can actually find that in the Holy Quran so that y'all can understand what's being talked about. All right. It's within the companions or company, Zumar. I think it's the 6th ayat, and it says, "He has created you from a single being that made it male of the same kind, and he has made for you 8 of the cattle and pair." All right. He created you in the womb of your mothers, a creation after a creation in triple darkness. That is Allah, your Lord. His is the kingdom. There is no God but He. Whence are you then turned away? So what is these 8 of the cattle and pairs? Well, quantum physicists also have learned that there are 8 cells in your body in which that never dies. And these 8 cells is actually what formed your physical body into existence. And they still exist right now at the base of your spine in an area called the sacral bone, which is the exact same location as your Kundalini life force energy. All right. So what is speculated is that the energy in which that is called Kundalini is generated actually from these 8 cells called blastopores. All right, or the dividing cells of mitosis. These 8 dividing cells of mitosis. All right, cellular division. These 8 cells is what form your whole 76 trillion cell body into existence. But unlike the 76 other cells or so, that changes over the 7-year period. These 8 cells never change your whole entire life. So this is the template. All right. When you meditate, you're actually is meditating on your cells duplicating themselves perfectly from those 8 cells in your sacral bone. All right. This is something on which that the Quran speaks of, but yet most Muslims have not yet come to that understanding. This is something on which that is a great science. All right. Even the word salat itself, when translated properly in Arabic, classical Arabic, right, Kufic, or it speaks about the fact that salat means to raise fire. So when you make a salat, which is referred to as worship, and you're doing your du'as, which are your prayers, you have what is called rakats, which is the 7 positions in which that you do. Well, those 7 positions in conjunction with the words of power, in which is called dhikrin, illuminates this Kundalini energy and causes it to raise fire. As a matter of fact, when you do wudu, you wash your hands, your arms up to the elbows, your face, your hair, the nape of your neck, your ears, back of the ears, your feet up to the ankles. The reason why you are hitting these particular areas is because the Kundalini has a tendency of warming these areas up. So it's a way of cooling the body down before you go into making worship or raising fire, salat. All right. Now, for those who want more detailed information, you can go to our website, www.dralim-el-bey.com, and go to the section Metaphysical and Religious Confusion. The Metaphysical and Religious Confusion. You will see how we take the information from Christianity, from Islam, from Judaism, from Hinduism, from Buddhism, from Taoism, from Zoroastrianism, and show you the connections or the common thread between all the world religions, and also how each one has their validity, all right, and can be utilized in order to make humanity better. However, the interpretations by people, especially the clergy, the so-called rabbis, preachers, pastors, popes, etc., wants to keep their congregation and the masses to believing that God is something outside of themselves and far away from creation. And you have to go on a search for God, the furthest from the Bible speaks about
how the body is the temple of God, and God exists within his temple. There's no coincidence that the side of your head is called temple, because right in between the temples is where God exists. The pineal gland. It is your soul, which is referred to as Osar. He's known as the sleeping god, or Necher, which symbolizes the lord of the underworld. However, when Aset, which is Isis, which is Kundalini, raises up from the sacral bone and travels through the 7 caves called the chakras to awaken Osar, he becomes transformer, as the Bible says. Jesus became transfigured and became what we know within the Per Hem Heru text to be Heru. Osar becomes Heru. Heru is the awakened nature. In other words, now the soul has awakened to its incarceration or incarnation and is now able to come and reside outside of the physical body, travels into the ethers, into the astral plane, etc., etc. And being that it is now free from the confines of the physical body, and it can also reside and return to the physical body, as it is out, it can gather information from what is referred to as the Akashic Records, the Universal Library, in which that this information you can bring back if you have the capability of being lucid and remembering what has transpired. And this information can actually help bring about a better society. When you read in the Holy Quran, and it speaks about the 7 hells and the 7 heavens, the 7 heavens in particular is referring to ascending energy on the night of Miraj, which is the night in which that Prophet Muhammad was taken up into that 7 heavens. He was taken up into the 7 heavens on a Borderuk. The word Borderuk means white lightning. All right, white lightning. No coincidence that the Kundalini is silvery white, and it moves like lightning, referred to as quicksilver. It looks silvery in color, and it moves like quicksilver. If you go back to the movie in which that just came out, it was called The Avengers, The Age of Ultron. In that movie, they showed you Quicksilver. He symbolized that. All right? There was a character from the comic books called Quicksilver. All right? Quicksilver symbolized the Kundalini. The color of the Kundalini, once again, when not found a way in which that is spoken of, in just that sense, is not the color of fire, all right? But the heat as it comes up is intense, like that of fire. But the way in which that Kundalini actually looks is a silvery or white silvery looking color, in which that can through the 7 chakras of the 7 heavens, in which that at the crown chakra, just like those who can become enlightened, you meet Allah or God face to face. This is shown once again in the Old Testament in Genesis, the 30th chapter, the 32nd verse, or between the 30th chapter and the 32nd chapter, where it speaks about that there was a struggle in which that took place. It is said to be Uriel, all right, and Jacob, all right. They speak about Uriel, but if you read some other Jewish lore, they speak of it being different archangels. But in the main sense of it, it is spoken as Uriel was the one who did battle with Jacob. Jacob within Hebrew means supplanter. All right, it means supplanter. That is symbolic to the lower self, supplanting the desires of the higher self. Both selves have desires. However, the lower self has a tendency of maim, murder, killing, etc., everything that harms. So the supplanter is the lower self, and it supplants the tendencies and the true nature of the higher self. So Jacob had to wrestle against the angel Uriel, and Uriel struck him in his thigh area, in his lower nature, in his lower mind, and it caused him to raise up. In other words, Kundalini had to raise up, and as it raised up, he seen God face to face and named the land Pineal land, as in your pineal gland. And this is the same trip in which that Muhammad took into the seven heavens, as it was revealed to him that Allah, or he seen Allah face to face. Even the Archangel Michael could not look upon the face of Allah and had to leave the presence of Allah and Muhammad as Allah spoke with Muhammad. All right. The tale of this trip is told within the Hadiths, as well as also portion of it is spoken of within the Holy Quran itself. But once again, Baruch symbolized that animal, hence that animated force of the human anatomy, which is Kundalini, in which that gives the ability to feel, talk, walk, hear, see, smell, taste, and extend our 5 sense perception into higher fields of resonance, frequency, vibration. This is where you get that the Kundalini is also the Holy Spirit, as the Holy Spirit is spoken of within 1 Corinthians, the 12th chapter, and the 9 fruits of Christ: faith, understanding, knowledge, miracles, healing, speaking in tongues, interpreting tongues, discernment of spirits. These are the 9 fruits of Christ. All right, so that means your 5 senses extend even further. Touch would be psychchemistry. Hearing would be clairaudience. Taste would be clairsentience. Smell would be clairgustance. Seeing will be clairvoyance. So your senses can extend and be magnified beyond belief by activating Holy Spirit, which is your Kundalini, which is Set, Isis, Baruch, Shekinah, as it is called within the Hebrew. All right? Many names throughout many different languages, but it all tells of the same principle. This is why it's important to do a comparative religious study on all the various world religions, so you can see the common thread that runs through. And oftentimes this common thread that runs through, if utilized properly, can end disputes between the religions themselves. But because everyone wants to appear to be right, or as we say, the silver cord or the golden rule, in which that is expressed throughout the various world religions. And this is what caused the conflicts and the confusions upon the planet. However, there's many books in which that you can get in which that can help illuminate your mind to a vast level of understanding, understanding. One is called The Magic Wand by Hilton Hotima. He has another one called The Magic Temple, Hilton Hotima. Another one called The Red Dragon, which he speaks about the Red Dragon in the book of Revelations being the Kundalini, Hilton Hotima. Another one is the Cosmic Secrets of the Ancient Masters by Hilton Hotima. Okay, so these are just some of the books that you can take and start studying and understanding, this information. All right. I would get books by Brother A.A. Rashid. All right. Like, for example, he has one called The Swords. He drops it in there coming from the Hebrew or Kabbalistic perspective. All right. So there's a lot of information that you can utilize in order to bring about awareness. All right. Another book would be The Metaphysical Bible Dictionary by Charles Fillmore. Another one would be The Four Gospels Esoterically Interpreted by John P. Scott. Another one is called The Bible Myths by Timothy Dowling. Deceptions and the Myths of the Bible is another one that I would recommend to read. And this is not, understand what I'm saying is this is not to bash the Bible. This is just something to give you, still be a skeptic, but have an open mouth so you can be able to go in and see the flaws of man as they interpret what God is revealing to them. All right, and what I mean by that is that from what we see, that all of the scriptures were translated essentially and done by men. So hence, it would be a patriarchal or chauvinistic interpretation or translation. But yet, when you go back and do your research in which that, just like there's another book referred to as Blackout to Whitewash by Sister Suzor. Excellent book. She showed you in there how the primordial deities were women. So deification came later on. Just like scientifically it's been proven that women been here upon planet Earth for 150,000 years prior to the male species. And that the male species came about through a degenerative androgynous woman, or as we would say, male and female combined, in which that went into hermaphrodite, and then from a hermaphrodite into hermaphrodite, and then into the male species. All right? And the male species was able to come about even more so through the usage of the sun. This is another book by Hilton Hotima, in which that refers to the secrets of regeneration. And in this book, he speaks about the fact that the male species came by way of the sun. Dr. York, in his book, Answer on the Law, Rebuttal to the Slanderers, speaks about how the sun rays come down in the opposite of the male, which is YX chromosome pattern, as the male species on Earth is XY chromosome pattern. But the rays of the sun will penetrate the vaginal opening and electrify the reproductive principle within a woman as she opened her legs up to the solar phatic energy or to the sun rays. And the sun being 93 million miles away. And then, of course, the 93rd attribute of Allah is El-Nur, which means the light. No coincidence. 9 plus 3, of course, is 12. And 12, of course, symbolizes 3, which is manifestation. 12 symbolizes the 12 disciples, the 12 zodiac signs, the 12 seasons. All right. So we understand that as far as for the male species, 150,000 years later, by way of the solophatic energy of the sun, hence the reason why a male child is called son, after the Father who art in heaven. Hallowed be thy name, thy kingdom come, which is symbolically, once again, the S-U-N, and the child is, the male child is S-O-N. All right, and so hence this is where we get the male child speaking of the Father who art in heaven. All right, but the same way in which that there is as above, there must be so below. And as there is so without, there must be so within. So as the Kundalini, which is that serpentine fire, shoots up to the pineal gland and awakens the sun, which is the soul. For the word soul, S-O-U-L, is taken from the Latin word S-O-L, which is soul, once again, which means sun or fire. So as this Kundalini fire, the pineal gland where the soul is embedded at, it solidifies what is referred to as the crystal city. There's 144,000 crystals throughout your body, and your pineal gland has more than 72,000. And these 72,000 crystals solidifies and form a crystal dome or crystal city or plaza. All right, and this crystal plaza, the energy sparks off from it through what is called the hypothalamus, the thalamus, and the pituitary gland. So hence the pineal gland. These four are the most powerful jewels, as we say, within the brain. These four together is what is referred to as your spiritual eye. Your spiritual eye. This is why in the book of Matthew, the 6th chapter, 22nd verse, it says, if your eye be single, that means one eye, your whole body will be filled with light. So the point of when you make salat and you go down into sajda, your head is down to the ground and it leaves that mark. That mark symbolizes, just like it does in India, of that red dot, symbolizes the awakening of the third eye. All right. And that area above the third eye, which is the pineal gland, pituitary and pineal gland, that particular seat. All right. As a matter of fact, the pineal gland, when looked at under a microscope, looks like a mushroom with the head of the phallus or penis. All right. Matter of fact, the head of the penis is referred to as pineal gland, just like the pineal gland. So the word penile and pineal actually is synonymous in etymology, in which that both become engulfed in blood and can become swollen and swell. Same thing, when the pineal gland becomes activated, it becomes swollen with blood, and it begins to massage and produce friction to what is referred to as the pituitary gland, which looks like a cowrie shell or the vaginal open. So sexual alchemy takes place within the brain first before it takes place between the bodies of male and female or man and woman. All right. So we have to understand that the sexual alchemy, first principle, universal principle of Tahuti, is the all is mind and everything in the universe is mental. Everything is energy. Once we have that down pat, then nothing else, everything else will be revealed to us, put it that way. And nothing else will be a mystery. All right? And matter of fact, understand the supreme axiom of as above, so below, as within, so without, will cause one to never be confused again. Understanding that you are the universe in miniature form. All right? Understand that you are the universe in miniature form. And the universe is you. Everything that's out there is in you. Everything what appears to be planets, asteroids, meteorites, planetoids, satellites, or moons, various stars, suns, supernovas, nebulas, all these things are within you. These are your atoms, your molecular structure, your cells, right? The various hormones excreted from the endocrine glands. So when we speak about the 7 chakras, it speaks of the 7 heavens. In the Quran, it speaks of the 7 churches. In the book of Revelation, referred to as the Injil. This is the metaphysical, esoteric, occult teachings in which that helps you understand the ultimate purpose upon planet Earth and beyond. All right, I had a conversation with an Islamic brother about 2 weeks ago, and he felt that Allah was no longer part of creation, was far, far away, outside of himself. That would make sense if it wasn't for the fact if the Bible and the Quran both states that God breathed into the nostrils of man and made man a living soul. That would make sense if God was far, far away, but yet he left a portion of itself in us. As the fact that it states that God or Allah breathed into the nostrils of man and made man a living soul. If those scriptures were not there in the Bible and in the Quran, then yes, I probably would have submitted to the fact that Allah was no longer part of creation. But understanding that, I know that Allah is part of creation and, as a matter of fact, is in its creation. Based on the fact that if I blow my breath of life upon someone, I'm blowing my essence upon them. This is the whole point of doing a name ceremony and also a child birth ceremony of speaking particular words within the left and right ears of a child. You blow your breath upon that child, your essence, so that the words become living within that child. Same thing that we do within Reiki. As we are putting the symbols into the person's auric field, Chokure, Seiheki, Hanshishishonen, Depomeo, into their auric field, we blow on the feet, at the heart, at the crown, and also in the hands. So, once again, good example, go to the book of Acts where it speaks about, or the book of John, it speaks about how Jesus came to the upper room and blew the breath of life upon the disciples and they received the Holy Spirit. The breath is the foundation of everything in existence. What you refer to as pulsing or centrifugal force or centrifugal force, push and pull, that is the breath. When you exhale and inhale, that's that push and pull. That is life. That's the great paradox. That is what those two extremes is what produced the two extremes referred to as man and woman, male and female. He came through that pulsation. This is why in meditation, it states that when you do quite amount of breathing, you will reach an androgynous state, the state of bliss, the state of nirvana, the state of God consciousness, infinite consciousness, Melchizedek consciousness, Metatron consciousness. Some refer to as Christ consciousness, Buddha consciousness, at the sixth or seventh chakra. When you reach these higher levels, you become the embodiment, just like we would say, of a true Christian. The word Christian means Christ-like. You become like Christ, a living example of Christ. Same thing with Islam. A mu'minun means one who strives or one who is in faith. You become a Muslim. The Egyptian, matter of fact, the ancient word for Egypt at one time was Misra. Misra, where the word Muslim or Muslim comes from. The R and the L's were interchangeable. But the word Misram was the ancient name for Egypt. We know that Arabic itself, it stems from the Kufic dialect, in which that comes from the demonic or demotic script of the Metu Neter and the Herodic script of the Metu Neter. This is where the Hebrew and Arabic comes from. It is actually Metu Neter. This is why it is referred to as the mother tongue or mother language. Hebrew and Arabic both refer to it because actually they are actually two of the same, or what appears to be two different dialects of the same language. Within Arabic, you would say Assalamu alaikum. Within Hebrew, you would say Shalom alaikum. All right. Within Arabic, when you're referring to a brother, you would say Haki. Well, within Hebrew, you say Haki. So a lot of the words are the same or very similar, especially in spoken tongue as well as within written language. All right. So both of these dialects stems from the Metu Neter, which is the ancient Egyptian mystery school language, in which that Shri is 98% Metu Neter, which is spoken within the Khan to this day. Right? You can get some good books on the Metu Neter. One of the books would be Beginning of Egyptian Hieroglyphics, written by Muata Ashby. You can also learn Metu Neter by Infudishi, Brother Infudishi, from out of New York. Brother is in Harlem every day. He was the founder of the Black and Gold bookstore there in Harlem. His book is called Spiritual Warriors or Healers. I believe that if I'm not mistaken, that's the title. All right. Check them out. This is what we need to be doing right now, is revamping and reanalyzing everything in which that we've been told, because there's a lot of things in which that we've been told, and it needs more study. All right? Like, for example, not only is the word Misra the ancient name for Egypt, and the ancient name in the Bible for Egypt is Misra. And like I said, it's the word Muslim or Muslim. But Misra doesn't mean to submit to surrender or submit to Allah, or to surrender necessarily in peace. Misra means to be formed or be born from the eye or the tear Ra. All right? So it speaks about that within the Perham Hebrew text, or the rise and the evolution of Ra. And what I'm talking about can be found at the British Museum, in which my wife and I went to back in 2008. And you can actually see for yourself, if you learned how to read the hieroglyphics or the Metu Neter, what is being said. Born from the tear or the eye of Ra. That's what Mithram means. So in its English transliteration, it became to surrender in peace, or later on to submit to the will of Allah. But we know that the word salam means peace. So if you say Muslim, it would be actually one of peace in Arabic translation. But once again, the way in which that you understand, you have the denotive and your connotative, connotative meaning. All right. The denotive meaning is the original meaning. All right, the original meaning. So Misram, original meaning would be that one or human born from the tear of the eye of Ra. While its cognitive meaning would become Muslim or Muslim, which means one of peace or peacemaker. Okay? All right. The word shalom or shalom comes from the word shama, which is also a word within the Metu Neter, in which that means also peace. Means one. Mo within the ancient Kemetic or Metu Neter means water. Also, it was a symbol of happy. Muhab Mayat. Muhab Mayat becomes the title of Muhammad. Muhammad was a title in which the Ahmed ibn Abdullah Mustafa Al-Amin took on as he went into Ethiopia and Egypt, which are the Kushites of the Dangalawa, I think of the Dangalawe tribe, in which that he went to sit amongst, in which that these Kushites was once inhabitants of ancient Egypt. And this is some of the ancient information which that they had there, in which that they bestowed upon him. So this is it became Muhammad, that title, just like Jesus took on the title Christ, just like Guata took on the title Buddha. All right, so these are titles. These are not individuals, and this is where people get hung up at. All right, you can become a Buddha, you can become a Christ, you can become a Muhammad. The Nation of Islam obviously understands that, because now instead of the X, not everybody have the last name Muhammad, one who was worthy of praise. We have to understand we'll be dealing with, so that the confusion can end as much as possible, and we can have the proper translations on what is taking place here. All right. I'm gonna bring Brother L on. I believe he's on here, Brother L. Brother Fahim, you here, brother?
I'll tell you what's East.
What's your Ishaq? What's going on with you tonight?
Brother, pretty good, brother. I got on late. I didn't think I was going to have the show tonight. But something told me to call anyway around about 5 after 7, you know. And there you was. So here I am.
All right. So you heard us get into the information tonight. What's your thoughts on it?
Yes, I like the way you broke down the name Yaqub, Jacob. It means supplanter.
I don't know. For some reason, the phone is going in and out.
Okay.
Can
you hear me?
Yeah, I got you now.
Okay, I was listening to what you were saying. The name Yaqub.
Right, Yaqub. Right, or Jacob.
Supplanter.
Right. In Hebrew, it means supplanter.
Supplanter. Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah. Because it's talking about the lower self. Remember, Jacob stole the birthright from his brother Esau. Esau is the same name as Isa or Yashu or Yeshua, which is Jesus within the New Testament. That is the Old Testament. Joshua and Esau is the old way of pronouncing the name Jesus or Yeshua in the New Testament, in the Old Testament, that is. So it's like the story of Judas and Jesus told in the Old Testament was Jacob being just like Judas, the betrayer, and the thief who stole the birthright. All right? So in a sense, Jesus, the story of Jesus and Judas in the New Testament revamped the Old Testament story of Jacob and Esau. Okay.
And also about I forgot what you said. What surah that was in the Quran about the womb, triple darkness.
Right, that was in the Companions.
Okay. Try to write that down. Remember that.
Right, that was in the Companions, which is called Zuma.
Okay.
Zuma. Zuma. In the Companions, the ayat will be the 6th ayat.
Ayat 6. Okay.
And think about it. It was man was formed on the 6th day. So that's no coincidence that it's in the 6th ayat. And then in the Bible it says man was formed on the 6th day. And then you know that the 6th day symbolized the 6th element, which is carbon. And man is a carbon being. And that includes woman. Man and woman, in particular melanated man and woman, are carbon beings. The Albion, European, because he lacks or she lacks melanin, most surface melanin, they are carbon-based beings.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, like in the Masonic rituals, they say, whence came you? So I can just say, I came from, instead of saying coming from the west to the east, I say I come from the womb of triple darkness.
Right. Exactly.
That would be more, you know. And another thing I was thinking about too, when you said about when doing salat, or when you bow your head to the dirt, to the ground, and if you touch the pineal gland. That means the opening of the third eye. So that means I've seen that ritual done even in China,
Right.
in the Buddhist, in Buddhist rituals and other religious rituals in the East as well, So that's got to mean the same thing in all of them. Is that correct?
All religions are supposed to bow down and put in do sajda. It's spoken of within the Bible. It means Jews and Christians both supposed to perform prayer in that same position.
Okay.
Muslims, Buddhists, and Taoists are the few in which that still bow down in that same manner. You see that on the Kung Fu movies.
Sure do. Yes, you do.
When they go in to the altar of their ancestors, they bow down all the way down just like that.
And sometimes they do it 3 times.
Right. So it seems that the only ones in which that is missing it currently, outside of any type of ritual, is the Christians and the Jews or the Hebrews.
Yeah. They're missing it big time.
Right. But yet the scripture speaks about performing salat and putting your face to the ground.
Because
that is one of the ways in which that helps raise fire.
Right. In the Nation of Islam, they never did break it down like that.
No.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So if we go into it in length on metaphysical and religious confusion on our website.
Okay. Yeah, I got on your website.
So if you can able to get on.
Yeah,
okay,
it's
you
a
did?
long website.
Oh yeah. We had to put a lot of information on it because in order to, I guess you could say, get a lot of hits, you got to have a lot of information on there, so people can click and so forth and so on. So we just make sure that we put a lot of information on our website so that people can understand not just knowledge of self, but also the science of economics too.
Okay. Yeah, because I've been on there. I think it was dealing with Christianity and Islam, and some of the things you was dropping tonight was on that website. I was checking it out. I've been writing it down in my notebooks. Trying to write everything as much as I can down. Because it was very, very, very important what you had on that website, and very helpful. Give me a lot of insight.
Right. What's some of the things that you got a chance to see on there?
Dealing with Muhammad, what you dropped tonight. Dealing with Christianity. It went into Muslim prayers.
Right.
How you broke them down, man, it was just fantastic.
Right. So you was on the metaphysical and religious confusion portion then. That's where we had that information. Okay. All right. Excellent. Oh yeah, excellent.
I think it was on YouTube, where I had clicked you on that, and for your I got on your website. No, Dr. Alim El-Bey, I got on, and it popped up.
Right.
No.
Mm-hmm. Indeed.
So dealing with the religious, like they said, you were talking to a Muslim about 2 weeks ago, and he was exactly correct on that. He was dealing with Allah way outside of himself. Allah said that Allah that did the creation, now he's far away somewhere. No, he's still within you. But most Muslims do not see it that way.
Well, that's Orthodox Islam, but Sufism, they see it that way. But in Orthodox Islam, you're right, they don't see it like that. They see Allah is separated from themselves, just like Christians see God separated from themselves. Some Jews see, Yahweh separated from themselves. Adonai or whatever, away from themselves. It's never inside of themselves.
Right.
And I mean, really, that's a shame because, what would be the purpose of having life, from a creator and then never being able to commune, with it? That just doesn't make any sense to me. Then what would be the purpose of prayer? What would be the purpose of meditation?
Right.
That is to commune with your higher self. That's commune with your Allah. That's commune with your God, or your Lord and personal Savior. That's the whole point, is to be able to commune, with what forms you into existence, and to receive answers. That's the reason why you pray, is to find a remedy, a solution to what is taking place and what's going on. But then you have to sit and still be still and know God, and that comes through meditation.
Yeah. So I was dealing with religion. I look at Sufism as more science also.
That's why we say Islamism is Sufism.
Okay.
Right, it's one and the same. One and the same.
I always see it as one, I don't see it as separate. Separate. A lot of people say that's mystical Islam.
Yeah, but it's mysticism because they don't understand it.
Okay. Yeah, the mysticism is a big part of Islam. But no,
right.
it's
what they call
Islam, period.
Right, they call it mysticism of Al-Islam. It's Sufism. But it's not mysticism. It's because most people don't want to take time in order to understand. It's just one states that we made the Salat a book of time. So the Salat as a book of time is referring to the entire Injil, which is the book of Revelations, which is really talking about your 7 chakras.
Uh-huh.
The book of time is talking about the time that it takes to cultivate your life force energy.
Okay. Yeah, you broke the Injil down too on your website. Well, I wrote that down.
Yeah.
How you had dropped it. The science down on that one.
It's because the entire book of Injil is on the subject matter of raising Kundalini and taming that red dragon, which is the Kundalini at the base chakra. As well, some of the Arabic word salat means burning fire or raise fire. That correlates perfectly to the Kundalini, which is called serpentine fire.
That's as I say, really most Muslims ought to get into Sufism. That's where they have a better understanding of Islam and Islamism. You have some Muslims that will tell you not to get into numerology.
Right.
That shows you right there. They're not really on point or on a level where they should be at. even
the Quran
some of
speaks
them
about, right, they tell you don't get into numerology, but the whole Quran is broken down into the number 19.
Ain't that something?
That destroys that right there. The whole Quran is broken down into the number 19. The Quran itself states that there's 19 angels over it.
That's numerology right there on the surface.
Right. 19 over it. That's what it says.
Then you have some that say don't deal with astronomy or astrology. But it's all in the Quran. All through there.
Yeah.
But then what they did with them, you mentioned the word occult. Sometimes they almost just as bad as Christians are at times. I don't know if you've noticed or not, or Jews or whatever, when they're dealing with the word occult, but actually it's the open science. If you really want to know, it's the open science that's shut, that's hidden from the rest of the people. That's what it actually is. So I don't know if you still hear me or not.
No, you went out, but go ahead, brother.
Okay, yeah, I could tell when, but like I said, that sometimes some of the Muslim sisters and brothers are just as bad as the Christians, when it comes to the sacred science.
Right. Right. Well, see, this is what I was talking about. Over it is there are over it is 19. Matter of fact, that is from the clothed one. Mudassir, chapter, the clothed one, and that is in the 30th ayat. It says, over it or 19. Then it comes down to the 31 ayat, and we have not made the wardens of the fire other than angels. We have not made the numbers but a trial of those who disbelieve. So right there, it's telling you to understand numerology. It says, we have not made the number but a trial for those who disbelieve, for those who have been given the book may be surely for certain, and those who believe may increase in faith. So increase in faith, you have to know the signs of number 19 that's throughout the whole Quran.
Right.
Which is what? Numerology.
Exactly.
As 19 is a prime number. 1 and 9 is 10 back to 1, which is Ahad, back to the oneness, which is mentioned within Surah Ikhlas. The law is alone and has no partners. We're talking about that soul within you, that one soul. There is not many souls. There's only one soul. You can be several spirits, but there's only one soul.
And if you notice, if you remember that, you remember when you was in the Nation of Islam, that they called the sisters MGT dress the number 19.
Mm-hmm. Well, no coincidence that if I took a 6-pointed star hexagram or tetragrammaton, and took that and overlaid it over the human body, human anatomy, at 19 degrees, I would see an upswelling of energy. Hence, Kundalini. So this is why in the Quran, in the second surah chapter, the 238th ayat or verse, it says, guard over the salat and the salat al-wasta, which is the middle salat, and to raise up to Allah devotedly. To raise up to Allah devotedly. So salat helps you raise up to Allah. Just like It helped Muhammad raise up on the night of El-Miraj.
Mm-hmm.
Which is also referred to as the night of power. It's also referred to as the night of power. It is also referred to as the night of power.
Okay. The night of power.
Well, that's another. Well, that's another thing too. Understanding. You also have the 7 positions. Right, and these 7 positions are rakats. Right, symbolizes the awakening of the chakras.
That's the 7th heaven.
Right, exactly. How to obtain the heaven.
The 7 elams.
So the first position is niyat, which means your intention. And you stand and prepare your mind for salat, which is the fire, the raised fire, or for worship. You know what I'm saying? And you takbir, the harama, which you say Allah is the greatest. Your hands is out to the side of your head near your ears. That's to help balance both sides of the brain. All right, that is similar to the yoga pose called the tree pose. Right? It's called the tree pose. And that's no coincidence because Osar in the so-called Egyptian religion was buried in the tree, just like Jesus was buried died on the cross. And then the one passage says that he died on a tree.
Yeah, I've heard that too.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's what takbir tarima means. And then you have qiyam, which means standing.
Mm-hmm.
And this is when you read or recite Al-Fatiha, the opening. For men, the hand is over the heart or solar plexus. For the woman, is over the navel.
Right.
The heart and the navel is 2 areas in which that you can absorb energy and store prana within these particular storage places. This is shown in the position of Qiyam. And then you recite Al-Fatiha, which means the opening. And then the word patah, the ancient Kemetic beliefs or system, means to open or to loosen.
Mm-hmm.
What are you opening? Well, being that the Quran comes after Injil, which is Revelation, the Revelations spoke about the 7 seals. So, sealed book in which that comes after is what is stated to open it, which is Al-Fatiha, to open it. And there's no coincidence that it has 7 stanzas. So, of course, Muslims usually say, A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Then, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Malik Yawm Ad-Din. Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. Siratal mustaqim. Siratal ladina an'amta alayhim. Ghayril maghdubi alayhim waladdallin.
Mm-hmm.
So, I seek refuge in Allah from the you, the most merciful. All praises are due to the source, the sustainer of the worlds, the yield of the merciful, the king of the day of judgment. It is you we serve, and it is you alone that we request earnestly for help. Let our decision be of those of the straight path, and not the narrow, and the straight and narrow path. And it says, the straight and narrow path of decision for those who have earned your grace, excusing those who have provoked your anger, bringing an everlasting curse on themselves, and is all excusing those who drift from the light on the right side to the darkness on the left side. All right. So when they are saying that, what you actually is doing is activating both hemispheres of the brain and the 7 chakras, being that each stanza symbolizes the opening of each one. Just like we told people before, if they go back to my shaman healer alchemy video, I speak about how you can recite the Lord's Prayer, and that channels energy down into you. And you can recite the 23rd Psalm, and that channels energy up in you.
Wow.
Right. These are all mysteries, or so-called said mysteries, in which that helps with the activation of these 7 chakras. And the reason why these particular prayers was utilized to activate as such. All right. The word reveal or revelation. Right. The word revelation itself means to reveal. Reveal means to what? To make known. Each of those stanzas. Go ahead. Now I was going to say each of those stanzas. So each one of those stanzas that we just talked about ends with the Ain symbol. All right. So if you go to Arabic, the Ain symbol is the 18th letter. If you go to Hebrew, it's the 16th letter. Right? The I am letters at the end of each of the 7 verses is no coincidence. In Arabic, like I said, as in Hebrew, the Ain letter and the symbol of the Ain is an eye, one eye, and that one eye is open. Hence, Fatah, or Fatah, or Fatiha. And obviously symbolizes the opening of the third eye, as well as the rest of the chakras, 7 centers or 7 major melanin centers, because of there's 7 total 7 verses. So when we talked about in Matthew the 6th chapter 22nd verse, the light of the body is the eye. If therefore the eye be single, the whole body would be filled with light. So the last book in the Bible is the book of Evangel, angel, or some say the Archangel Michael.
Okay.
And Michael symbolizes the crown chakra. And Michael symbolizes the crown chakra. Or the 7 archangels, which is the 7 chakras. Michael is the crown chakra. The brow or the head is Gabriel. The throat chakra is Azrael. The heart chakra is Raphael. The solar plexus is Gimiel. The navel chakra is Samiel. And the genitals is Uriel.
So you said that Uriel was battling Yaqub, right?
Right. Which symbolized the lower self. That's the hell that we get ourselves into, following the lower self. In particular, what we refer to as the genitals. Hell, fire, and desires can be one and the same, and is looked at in the occult as being one and the same.
But I know
right
when yeah, when you sometimes when I eat, or even in private or in public, I used to do put both of my hands, palms, in front of my face, and I heard that was supposed to be I was doing a full moon when I do that. But could you break that down a little further? Maybe it means something deeper than that. I'm not sure.
Say it again.
You know, before you do a prayer, like when you do when you eat your dinner, whatever. Some Muslims do like two hands with both of their palms in front of their face. You know.
Well, that's the ancient Egyptian. Right, that's ancient Egyptian.
It's okay.
Right, that's Kemetic. You would see, sitting in prayer, you would see the hands like that. That is also in Islam. You would see the hands turned in that position, but Muslims do it sitting down. The Nation of Islam does it standing up, 45-degree angle.
Okay.
That symbolizes receiving energy or receiving transmission.
Okay. Okay.
Right.
I know it had to been something deeper.
Well, that's part of also, I go in because the fourth one is Raku or Ruku, which is bowing. All right. The benefit of this posture is actually to open the spinal column or cord and loosening it and making it relaxing. It is said that a person's body is as old as the spinal cord is stiff. All right. It allows the Muslim to open the chakras along the spine. Then you have Jalsa, which is sitting, which activates the nadis, which is the acupressure and the acupuncture's meridians on the right big toe. Now you having problems with that, then that affects the liver and the spleen.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So that's the metaphysical cause of that. At that point, you say, Assalamu alaikum rahmatullahi ta'ala barakatuhu.
Right.
You turn the head to the left and to the right. That symbolizes the opening of the two brains, which is your left and right hemisphere of the brain. And within the human brain, there's two speech centers called the Broca and the Wernicke. All right, or or what is called the Wernicke. All right, in which the ancient spiritual scientists were well aware of these two speech centers. They called them the twins, which is within the ancient Egyptian were called the twins Anpu, which is Anubis and Apuet. All right, but in the Quran, it refers to them in Surah 2:102 as the two angels, which is called Harut and Marut. The function of these twins is actually to separate whole into parts. That function is essential, otherwise no distinction would be possible. But the very act of separation is deceptive, however, as we talked about, because it can leave one fragmented if they don't understand that everything is actually holistic. So because it can be masked, the essential oneness of all things. All right, so, that is also part of that. And then, of course, you have sajda, right, which is prostration, which allows for the blood to flow to the brain and enhance the pineal and pituitary gland function, which is the 6th and 7th chakra, or what's called the anger and the saha, which actually enhances or enriches the blood flow to the brain, making it easier for a Muslim to experience what is called clear vision or al-bayana, and prepares the brain for the awesome Kundalini or Salat energy when it raises into these two highest chakras. The additional blood centers in the brain also helps to provide moisture for the brain so that it doesn't overheat when Salat, which is raised, fire raised up to the brain centers. This helps prevent such things as Kundalini psychosis and fevers. In other words, it keeps the nigga from having schizophrenia. All right, now, this is what we were talking about, that if you go to Genesis, the 17th chapter, the 3rd verse, it says, and Abram fell on his face. Deuteronomy speaks about bowing. Psalms 95:6 says, bow down, let us kneel. Deuteronomy 9:24-25, I fell down. All right. Joshua 7:6-7 says, I fell to the earth upon his face and put the dust upon their heads. All right. That's the same as within the Holy Quran. All right. It also speaks about in Book of Numbers, I think it's 16, 20, 22. It states about Moses and Aaron, they fell upon their faces. Second Chronicles 20:18. Jehoshaphat bowed his head with his face to the ground. Nehemiah 8:6. Isra speaks about they lifted their hands and then they bowed their heads and worshiped the Lord with their faces to the ground. Now, all that is in the Old Testament. Even in the New Testament, it tells you to pray the same way. So this is for the Jews who are supposed to be praying that way, and Christians supposed to be praying the same way. Here it is, Matthew 26:36-39. It says, Jesus fell on his face and prayed, saying, "Oh, my Father, if possible, let this cup pass from me." So, okay. Brother L, how are Jews and Christians supposed to pray?
Okay, about the same way then.
Yeah, Book of Revelation 7:11 says it right here.
When you break it down,
the elders and the four beasts fell before the throne on their faces and worship God, saying, "Amen. Blessings, the glory, wisdom, thankfulness, and honor, and power, and might be unto God forever and ever. Amen."
Because even in the movie King of Kings, they had the actor Jeffrey Hunter when he said, "Oh, Father," he did bow down and touch his head to the surface.
Right.
He sure did.
You're right. And then you had Kadaha. Right, Kadaha, which means to decide the dispute, in which that is when you go into dickering, which is the seventh position. And you recite the 99 attributes of Allah. When you say Alhamdulillah, Alhamdulillah, Alhamdulillah 33 times, Subhanallah, Subhanallah, Subhanallah 33 times, or Assalamu, Assalamu, Assalamu 33 times, or whatever name of Allah in which that you take, you recite 99 times in dickering. All right, so these are the seven positions. And as what we just finished saying is that Christians and Jews are supposed to be praying the exact same way as Muslims.
Exactly. Because you see some Christians standing up with their thumbs toward their ears.
Right, and what's the purpose? The purpose is to raise Kundalini. That's the purpose of making salat. Muslims don't, the majority of Muslims do not understand that, nor do they know that. But that's the purpose.
Oh.
All right.
So that goes very deep, yeah.
Right.
Go ahead, brother.
Right, no doubt about it. No, I'm just gonna say for those who want to call in, you can call in. We got the next few minutes here. So the call in number is 626-414-3535. That's 626-414-3535. All right. We're gonna go to the phone line. We got area code 740. Area code 740. You're on the line.
Shalom, brother. How are you?
All right, shalom.
Peace.
All right. I got a quick question. What is when a person begins to get into the higher levels of meditation? We're first starting from the beginning levels of it. What are some of the changes spiritually happen in the person's life?
Well, number one, you begin to start dissing old habits, things in which that once appealed to you no longer appeal to you. You also begin to start having an open mind and start investigating things in which that you might not even been interested in just, years ago or months ago. Your whole attitude changes. You begin to start developing certain gifts, such as we spoke about earlier. The gift of faith, the gift of wisdom, the gift of understanding, the gift of knowledge, the gift of miracles, the gift of healing, the gift of speaking in tongues, the gift of interpreting tongues, the gift of discerning of spirits. All right, so you begin to start developing those particular gifts. So there's certain things which that definitely happens once you begin on your enlightenment path, and that all comes through the awakening of Kundalini.
Do you have any tips on how to meditate for just beginners?
Yeah, definitely. There's 3 meditations that I always start people out with, and that is to expand their auric field. That's to see any leaks and holes in the auric field, and to excommunicate any negative thought form or entity in which they have become attached to the auric field. And the breath technique is called the pranic healing breath technique, in which that you can do 6-3-6-3. You breathe in for 6 seconds, hold it for 3 seconds, breathe out for 6 seconds, hold it for 3 seconds. Or you can do the 7-1-7-1, which is breathe in for 7 seconds, hold it for 1 second, breathe out for 7 seconds, hold it for 1 second. Or you can do what's called empty retention, which that you don't have to worry about breathing in for a count, hold it for 1 count or 1 second, then breathe out and then hold it for 1 second again. All right, so either one of these 3, if you do them 100 times a day, will expand your auric field more than 15 feet around you. The average person auric field only extends 3 feet. So you become 5 times more powerful and more magnetized than the average person.
About how long does it take to get to actually start seeing recognizable differences?
It takes a few weeks, maybe months, based on how active your brain is. For example, when we talk about the brain, we talk about the Kundalini, being the mother goddess principle, illuminates the dark caverns, which is the manger or the staple. All right, the staple that is mentioned is talking about the hippocampus area in the brain. And the word hippocampus means white horse. All right, that is Pegasus. In Greek, and also the white horse in which that Jesus is supposed to come back on with thousands of angels behind him as the sky opens up. That's in the book of Revelation. But that's talking about the hippocampus area in the brain, which is the white horse. Or the inn, in which that is talking about Joseph and Mary went to an inn, and they couldn't get into the inn, so they had to go to the manger or the stable. Or that is talking about the brain ventricles, fingers in the brain. All right, the pineal gland, which is the master endocrine gland of the body, overlooks the 3rd ventricle. And above the pineal gland, there's an area referred to as the 4th eye. All right, which is also referred to as the throne of Set. The pineal gland is in which that Osar, which is Osiris, the soul. The soul is symbolized as Osiris, and Osar is the sleeping dead God, as they say, or the sleeping God. And upon Set awakening him, which is he becomes awakened and transform or transfigures into Heru, which will be Jesus being transfigured on the mount. That's spoken of in the book of Matthew. So all allegorical and mythological, but it's talking about a play in which that takes place, a concept or a transaction that takes place within the physical body as these energies bring you into enlightenment.
Okay.
All right.
What are the levels that you've got?
Say it again, brother.
Oh, I was saying, what are some of the levels that you have experienced, bro?
Brother, I've been meditating since I was 9 years old.
Okay.
So, I've done reach quite a bit of this level. That's how I'm able to break down this information. This is how I'm able to remember. This is how I'm able to remember books that I haven't read in 10, 15 years, and the pages that this information is on. Through mastering this information, I was able to develop a photographic memory. I can also activate my chakras at will simply by thinking about it. I was initiated into the Cobra Breath technique by Grandmaster Sunyata Saraswati. So we raise Shakti any time of the day if we choose to, through a particular breath technique called the Cobra Breath technique. I've seen the white light in my head, which they think is the final level, but it's not.
Okay.
The development of the golden dragon body is the level that you want to get to.
The golden dragon body?
All right. A good book on that is called The Immortal Body by Mitchell Gibson. By Dr. Mitchell Gibson. It's called the all right.
Yes, sir.
So, brother, I'm going to go to the next caller. Appreciate you calling in, asking questions. We're going to go to the next code, area code. Praise, brother. You got area code 347, area code 347. You on the line.
Yeah, Islam, brother Alim and brother El. First of all, I want to thank you, both of y'all brothers, for waking me up. You know what I mean? I was deaf, dumb, and blind. But also, just to keep on topic, I do Bioloma every day. I do Merkaba every day. I do Cobra 1 and Cobra 2 every day. And
there you go.
Sometimes I feel like it's like a pole, you know, my crown chakra, like a pole on top of the crown chakra.
Right. Of course, that's your silver cord.
Okay. And then another question I want to ask you is, I was saying
my
man
your
was
silver
in
cord
acupuncture.
that's mentioned in the Book of Ephesians.
That's the silver cord.
Right.
And then my man went to acupuncture school, so I got turned on to Stephen Chang when I was like 14. The Tao Sexology. So when I would have sex, I would ejaculate, you know.
Right.
And it was going good, but sisters get pissed off, you know, about that a little bit. You know what I mean? So then I have read someplace else. I have read someplace else about that that the Asians was wrong, and you're supposed to take a 3/4 breath. And as soon as it hits your heart chakra, you're supposed to push the energy out, and it makes like a circle, like a honk, and it comes back into your heart from the back going. So I started doing that, but I noticed I was a little bit weak. You know what I mean? It wasn't like the ejaculation where you was kind of strong. You know?
Right. Exactly. Well, all of those just different techniques that people was able to master based on their, on their practice or way to the enlightenment path. So, you can take it and utilize what you possibly can, and what doesn't work for you, as Master Sunyata always tell us, put that to the side. Keep what works for you and keep it moving.
Okay, just one more question. I don't want to take up the time. So what I'm supposed to do with my license plates and my driver's license? Am I supposed to get that in and just drive without the plates and the license, or keep the plates? Or
No.
I'm a little confused, brother.
No, there's nothing to be confused about. First, you have to surrender your license in good standing back to the DMV. The DMV then gives you a letter of surrenderance. So if you surrender your license in good standing, meaning that they can't be revoked, they can't be suspended. All right, they have to be in good standing. You surrender them back, saying you do not need them, and it will give you a letter in which that is a letter of surrenderance, in which that states that you no longer have their license, and therefore you will be put in the database, do not detain. But you will want to make an affidavit of right to travel prior to doing so you can attach the letter to your affidavit of right to travel. That way, you get stopped by the police, the sheriff department, highway state patrol, et cetera, et cetera. You can show them that you have surrendered your license in good standing from the DMV, and they have no authority or jurisdiction in the matter whatsoever. When they go back and look at the computer, back into their cars, they will see that it said do not detain, and they'll come back with your right to travel information and tell you that, have a good day and travel safely.
Okay, and what about the license plate? Is it the same? Oh, I'm sorry, sir.
Your license plate, you surrender your license plate also back to the DMV or to the license of DMV, license and plates of DMV. You surrender it back along with their registration. Okay. And you invoke your own registration, own title, and you get plates. We have all the information on our website. We have our own plates in which that we drove, as we say, navigated on for over 6 years.
Okay. I got my reclamation through you, brother, and I bought all the books. But it's hard because I'm in New York, but it's hard because it's not. I went to 125th Street a couple times, but it ain't like the same flow like how you be flowing, really. You know what I mean? So it's a little bit hard. Then
well, we got online classes, brother. Online classes. Every Monday and every Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you got a Gmail account, you can come and join our classes.
Okay. Because, I read, I got the ancient ones. I got your book, the First World Order. I got Circle Square. I got everything, you know what I mean? I don't really know how to, you got to be around people to understand the move, Right. Hello?
Exactly. I got you. Yeah, so come to the classes on Mondays. Okay. Do me a favor, email me, and I'll send you the links for those classes on Mondays and Thursdays. You just come to class, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Okay, thanks a lot. Peace, Islam, and y'all brothers are doing phenomenal work. I went through all the YouTubes, looked at all your videos like twice. Brother, y'all are changing lives, brother.
Thank you,
you and Brother Fahim, because Brother Fahim be on the job too, brother. So peace and love, and peace and love to the goddess. Okay.
Peace.
All right, area code 410. Area code 410. You're on the line.
Hello,
area code 410. Peace.
Yeah, what's going on, family? Calling from northwestern Mexico. Good to hear you back, Dr. Alim. Let me see. Yeah, it's funny that the first brother called about meditation. That was right in my mind. Alim, you ever meditate? Do you know any possible caveats one could take doing the handstand or the scorpion pose? So I'll be trying to meditate while hanging upside down, or not hanging upside down, but sitting on my head.
I got you. Right.
Yeah. So that was the first question.
Right. You said any particular meditation?
No. Any caveats? Anything like this is what I'm saying. Somebody said that you really want to activate from the bottom up, because it's some people, they went crazy, trying to start from the crown first, and doing that way. So I was wondering if I'm tilted upside down or something like that, and something just a power break or something, the surge go through and go straight down to the to my head or something.
Okay, I got you. All right, so there's 3 places in which that you can store energy within the Taoist teachings. There's what's called the 3 dantians. You can store it in your navel or right below your navel, about an inch and a half or so, at the back of your heart, and also at the third eye. So as long as you focus on one of them points, as far as you doing your meditations in that particular position or posture, then you shouldn't have any problems as long as you focus on one of those areas. You won't focus on your crown because, as you know, the crown is 1,000 times more powerful than all the chakras combined. That's why it said that to be the 1,000 lotus petals.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, don't people sometimes we sleep on the heart chakra too. You know, that heart chakra. That's
right. Exactly.
That's the marriage, getting that marriage together.
Right. That's why I said, if you're gonna focus, you can focus at the heart chakra, but it's that at the back of the heart. In other words, on the back side of the heart, so that you won't fill up the front of the heart so easily, in which that can cause sometimes problems if people have heart angina, heart murmurs, heart palpitations, panic attacks. You know, if you do it at the back of the heart, then the energy can fill up the front slowly. And that is the best way in order to merge the energy into the body also. If you're not doing it at the dantian, the lower dantian, do it at the mid dantian or either at the upper room, which is called the third eye dantian.
Okay, I appreciate it. And I've been I always had a problem sucking in the perineum, or the perineum is sometimes they call it. But I'm working on I'm sucking that in a little bit, going with some Montauk Chia. You know, he got some good stuff.
Right. We'll start with the anus area first. I'm pulling that up, and then that will automatically begin to start pulling up the perineum area.
Okay. And here's a second question. Yeah, like the last brother just called about. I don't know if 125th Street is a house of consciousness or not, or some of the other teachings, like the people at the temple, but like how you got a different way of explaining things. So, bro, I just want to hear your take on Noble Drew Ali and the Aquarian Gospels of Levi. What's your take on that, brother? Because some people say he got it from the. I always had this question for a long time. I forgot about it years ago.
That is one of the books in which that he got the Holy Quran Circle 7 from. Remember, he divinely prepared it. He didn't say that, he wrote it per se. We know that the first portion of the Holy Quran Circle 7 comes from the Aquarian Gospel of Jesus Christ by Levi Countess, as well as also the Infinite Wisdom Lessons of the Rosicrucians, what is called Unto Thee I Grant. So those two together is what form the Holy Quran Circle 7, and then you have the last chapters or so in the first page or so, first 2 pages or so of the Holy Quran Circle 7, in which that Prophet Noble Drew Ali wrote. All right, but the middle portion is that from those 2 books, a composite of those 2 books. Okay.
Okay. All right, brother.
I have it on my website. If you go to www.dralimel-bey.com to the Moorish Holy Temple of Science of the World, to that section, I have the whole history of Noble Drew Ali and everything, in which that took place more so in detail, probably than any other book, in which that you could probably read, and definitely from more from anybody that you probably will listen to. Because a lot of times cats try to be the vanguards of this movement, and they end up sounding like nuts. in a sense, because
right. Exactly.
They become more so superstitious, and then I think back to Stevie Wonder's song about superstition and how that ends up harming a person. So they probably need to go back and listen to Stevie Wonder's song Superstition, because that's how they end up sounding a lot of times, as if they knew Prophet Noble Ali personally.
Right.
Right, and and that's the thing. I'm like, no, what you do is historically put the pieces of the puzzle again, but you can't act like you knew this. And only book that you want to read is the Holy Quran Circle 7 and the the oral prophecies and statements of Prophet Noble Ali, or the Moorish literature, or the 101s or the 102s. These are booklets in which that was left behind, clues in which that we can utilize in order to help free ourselves from the confinement and from the nonsense in which that's been perpetrated against us. Truthfully, if it wasn't for the Great Seal National Association of Moorish Affairs, this information wouldn't be out to the levels that they're out today. Because it was people who came from the Great Seal National Association of Moorish Affairs, like Brother Hakeem H.Y. Bey, Sister Valahara, Taj Tariq Bey, Brother Nakim Bey, Nakim Allah Bey, myself, and several others. We were all at one time Great Seal National Association of Moorish Affairs members. Either we was emirs or sat in higher positions. And it wasn't for us bringing this information over the last 15 years, the brothers and sisters right now won't know nothing about Moorish information, because the Moorish Science Temple of America wouldn't even have revealed it. It was too infiltrated and too busy, being happy with, 5 to 10 members.
Exactly, yes. And if I may add something else too about the book to D.I. Grant by the Rosicrucians and the Aquarian Gospel of Jesus Christ. The reason I believe that why Noble Drew Ali took excerpts from those books, because he knows those are nothing but more science on the surface anyway.
Exactly.
So,
As a matter of fact, everybody knows that the Rosicrucians, which was the Knight Templars, received their information who was a Moor, hence Moor science. So that information was passed down, formed the Freemasons, in which that they embedded themselves within the 18th degree of Freemasonry, called the Rosicrucians. And this is how this information flourished to this day. So it is more science teachings. There's no doubt about it. That is right in his act, what Brother L just stated. So he was simply bringing us back, which was
I appreciate the touring the information. Hopefully one day I get that marriage together with the left and the right hemisphere to get that hypothalamus connected in the corpus callosum. Like the real Rain Man, or at least one of the European Rain Man, Kim Peek. Remember the dude? He every book he read, he could remember every single word on every book he read.
Right.
Which could be a good thing, or depending on the person, that could drive you bananas. But
if you don't know how to, just put some of that shit to the back of the brain or back to the head, and don't worry about it, and then only access the real shit, the most important stuff. That's what I do. Only access the most important stuff, the shit which that is life changing and soul saving. All that other stuff, I'll put that shit, out to the back. I'll forget it.
Right.
Even back up. Like most of the school stuff. Most of the school stuff is at the back.
Exactly.
That includes kindergarten all the way up into college and beyond. All right. So, we're going to end tonight's discussion. I appreciate you, brother. All right, Brother L. We get ready to close. What you got to say in closing?
All I can say is thank you for a lot of that insight on the prayer, the Islamic prayer, and the breaking down of the name Yaqub, and
right.
I'm still looking at your website there, so, brother, because it's very educational for me, and I thank you much for that.
Appreciate you, brother.
Appreciate you,
guys.
Right.
All right, and what I got to say is, appreciate y'all for checking us out once again. This is First World Radio, and as usual, we love y'all for sticking in and hanging in there with us, and we out. All right. Peace.
First World Order Radio, finally, we are on the air. No doubt. All right.
There's always going to be somebody in the building on First World Order Radio.
We get on into some of that order consciousness tonight.
First World Order Radio every Wednesday, 8 p.m.
We got to talk about what is taking place on the planet.
There's always going to be somebody in the building on First World Order Radio. First, we need to let you know we're going to be doing more shows, giving out more information on Wednesdays. Wednesday at 8 o'clock, we are now going to make this the hottest day of the week.
Proceeding levels in time, order, importance. The most prominent parts, voices, or instruments. Earthly state of human concerns in existence. An indefinite multitude, quantity, or distance. System regulates to bring about specifics in the root based on value and natural characteristics. Current radiates electromagnetistics of sound through the air, same as your thoughts transmits it. Proceeding levels in time, order, importance. The most prominent parts, voices, or instruments. Earthly state of human concerns in existence. An indefinite multitude, quantity, or distance. System regulates to bring about specifics in the root based on value and natural characteristics. Current radiates electromagnetistics of sound through the air, same as your thoughts transmits it.
You need to understand how magical this something like this every Wednesday can become. So you need to start getting your calendar right, get your schedule right. You need to know our intention straight out.
All right, so these clues are given throughout the various languages was to piece the puzzle of this ancient mystery school back together again.
And what we plan on doing, both of us, is bringing y'all some surefire dynamite. We're going to take this level up a notch. We're going to have stuff to do here. This is not just going to be about philosophies and theories, shit that works.
You have an activated pineal gland which that produced this black chemical called melanin.
What we did was gave a hard line in the sand between the different definitions of esoteric study and exoteric study.